I've been on a mission for 2 weeks to build a clan boss team around Wixwell that uses nothing but rares. What's up, guys? Finally, he sleeps here. Today, we're going to take a look at this clan boss team that I've been building for the last couple of weeks around Wixwell's ability to grow shields that uses nothing but rare champions. And it's been a labor of love. Actually, I'm lying. It has been absolute hell. Vaultkeeper Wixwell was the May Fusion champion, and as a community, we determined what his skills were going to be. And this A2 and A3 work in combo. A3 lays down a shield and an intercept, and then A2, every time it places, it increases the value of all shields on all allies, and the value of each shield is increased proportional to the total number of buffs which had their duration increased. Now, because of those two skills, it is a mechanic that we've never seen before, and it kind of opened up a bunch of doors for some crazy builds. Right out of the gate, everyone determined that if we could grow his shield the way we've seen some other shield clan boss builds, there's with using like the Krisk Brogni infinite shield build, if we could come up with something with Wixwell for the same kind of thing, you could take a clan boss all the way out to 1500 turns without issue. It should make building an Ultra Nightmare clan boss much easier. So this is a champion that we obviously had to claim. Anyone who didn't claim Wixwell completely missed out. And the concept of this video was, if you were able to claim Wixwell and you have an early account, not a lot of stuff going on, can you put together a one-key Ultra Nightmare build using Wixwell and achievable champions within the game? And I started looking at free-to-play champions that we had, like Kale, and I've seen some people do some stuff with like Scarhide, but even though it's like another fusion, it is free to play. I decided let's go deep into this and just use rares for this clan boss build. Here is the infinite build. It uses Wixwell as the extension of their shields. We have 2 champions in shield gear. We're using 3 campaign farmers, Spirithost, and a double setup of Valerie, and then Renegade, who is a rare void, one of the easiest void champions to come by, specifically because she's a rare. But the skills that they each bring kind of sets this team up to go the distance and be as simple to build. It is a very slow build on top of it. There's not a lot of speed involved. But to take this out to hit one key for Ultra Nightmare has been the bane of my existence for the last 2 weeks. Now, taking it all the way out to be able to 2-key Ultra Nightmare with this team was easy, just simple. Throwing 40 million on Ultra Nightmare with this setup took very little effort. So as a 2-key team, it is out of the gate Wixwell, bunch of farmers, you're good to go. But to get this to 1 key has, it's just been it's been hell. It's been hell. So we're going to take a look at the build that I have here and what we've got into this as far as the 4 rares go. And just before I go any further, I still can't come up with a name for this. Like, some of the teams always have like really cool names, like the Helicath Maneater build that I had was the HellManJa, because it had Ninja, Helicath, and Maneaters, HellManJa. You've got like the Bat Eater team and stuff. This one's Wixwell and 4 rare females. So what are we gonna call it? I was thinking like Wixwell Uncooked, because they're all rare, you know. Then I started thinking like, well, rare, it's like pink. Do we want to Wixwell wrapped in pink, something? Wixwell Uncooked, because they're rare. Wixwell Tartar. Okay, Wixwell is the beginning. This is what we're building all of these clan boss builds around, and it's because of those two skills. The way it works is he lays down in the first turn, he puts on intercept, shield, and increased defense, 3 buffs. Then his second turn, he throws down decrease attack on the clan boss and then increases the value of all of those shields that he just laid, and then it increases the duration of the buffs. So you need to keep the buffs on as long as you can. So you're going to keep increasing the number of buffs that you have and how long they stay. So if they're 2 turn, then it becomes 3 turn, then 4 turn. You have to take more turns than you're using against the debuffs. The more debuffs you have, or the more buffs you have on your team, the more expansion of the shield you get. And the way the clan boss works is his attack in the beginning is low, and then it goes up exponentially as your turns go higher and higher and higher, all the way up towards the 1500 turn count. Your shield does the same thing. Now the key to this is to make sure that your shield grows faster than the clan boss's damage comes into play. So you need very strong shields right out of the gate. So you need a lot of buffs on your team to get the shields to stick and start to build quickly. So that's why the team is set up the way it is. So Wixwell has a ton of defense because that's where the value of the shields come from. I have him very slow. He is only at 212 speed, and he is the fastest champion in this slow build. I have a lot of crit rate and a lot of crit damage on him, and his accuracy needs to be above 230. I do not have a shield set on him. Instead, I went with accuracy and a lot of defense in this build. Now, you do need some champions in shields to make these clan boss teams work, but for this one, we're going about it a little differently. So no shield set on Vault Keeper Wixwell. Going second in my team is Spirithost. She is a campaign farmable rare from Dark Elves, and she brings a couple of buffs as well, because remember the buffs are important. She has increased attack on her A2 and block debuffs on her A3. The block debuffs is important because to make these things affinity friendly, we need to block the stun that the stun target is going to get every 3rd turn of the clan boss. So she lays down block debuffs and then removes any stuns that we have, and then her A2 is increase attack, which is a 2 turn that lays down on top of it. So we've got decrease, or we have increase attack, and the block debuffs is what she brings. I have Phantom Touch on her as well. Her A1 doesn't really do much other than heals her inside of it, but we're not really worried about healing or damage or anything as long as we have high enough HP and our defense is there. What she brings though is 2 buffs and block damage. Now for her build, I have her almost she's over 4,000 defense, which is the most important, but her speed right now is running 193. So we've got 212 on Wixwell and then 193 on Spirithost going second. Now in gear, because she is going to lay down a little bit of damage for me. Now if you look at all of the ascension I put on this, full disclosure, trying to get this to 1 key, I have poured everything I possibly have into this build to try to get it over 70.4 million in 1 key across all affinities. So that's why her setup with 4 poison sets, and then I have a divine crit rate set on her as well to be able to kind of stack the shields that she's bringing, that we get out of everything from there. But for her, there's no shield set yet other than the divine set. Now next up, we have a twin set of Valeries. These are both set up almost exactly the same. They're both in shield sets. I think one of them actually has a divine set as well, but the divine set's only there because of the stats that it's bringing, not necessarily for, you don't need the divine set for shield stacking. It helps a little bit on defense. But I've got these both at 2300 or 3300 defense, just so they can stay alive and kind of push through this. They have no crit rate, no crit damage, everything on their build. This is a weak ass champion. As far as a campaign farmer, I would never use her for anywhere other than this specific build just to get it through. But her skill that is important for this is her A2 brings an increased attack. It's a crappy increased attack. It's the smaller of the two. But what it does do is it increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. And then decreases all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn. That is the only thing we have. If you have to block debuffs from Spirithost, that doesn't come into play. But what this does is it allows both of them to go in tandem and increase the timing on all of your buffs. Because remember, you need a lot of buffs to keep this team alive, because your shield is going to grow based on the number of buffs each champion has. Now, everything in here is fully booked. Is to push my numbers out even higher for this, to be able to get 1 key for Ultra Nightmare. I should start to shift out some of her gear for both of these and get crit rate closer to 100% and a little bit more damage on attack on these guys, just so that the 2 of these can actually add a few million to the total output of damage to make this work. The last champion in the build is the slowest. This is Renegade, the rare void, and she is only coming in at 181. So now we have 212 for Wixwell, 195 for Spirithost, 183 for the 2 Valeries, and then this one is 181 for Renegade. She is going to go last. I've got her in another shield set because we're stacking the shields, because again, they're all rare, so they're very squishy. We need a lot of defense on these. She is coming in at 3,700 defense. I do have her crit rate a little bit higher and her crit damage over 100%. But that's really just because I'm starting to build this out a little bit to get more damage in it. Her masteries have started to go and put them in. And the only one that has full masteries right now is my Spirithost for this, who has War Master. But the Valeries, I still haven't completed them out to get all those numbers on. But for for Renegade, she's fully booked, and the skill that we're really using here is her A3, because what it does is it decreases the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. Now what this does is it allows us to take Wixwell and the Valeries and increase those buffs faster, and then Wixwell will get more turns in to generate more shields quicker. So that's the timing and that's the setup. We're going to show you here what it looks like on Spirit. Spirit, as far as it being able to 1 key this, is probably the hardest to do, because it is a weak affinity for Wixwell. That's the damage dealer in this team. So he's hitting everything weak. As far as like all of the affinities go, it's just going to change where your stun target is. If you can get, the only thing that may change for you is if you start out on not auto, you turn auto off and you target whoever is taking the first stun target. If you just target them with the with Wixwell's A3, it will allow them to avoid the what is it, intercept takes off the stun. If you are getting hit quicker than Spirithost can put the block debuffs on. But once we set this up, everybody starts out with 4 before the first turn is done, everybody has 4 buffs. Then you get 5 buffs once you throw the block debuffs buff on from Spirithost. You go out to 5, and then over the course of the next 5 rounds of Wixwell, he staggers the intercept across all 5 of your champions, so that everybody ends up with 6 buffs except for Wixwell, who has 7 because of his counterattack, which is the only debuff, or the only buff that's coming in here that is not an AoE buff, is Wixwell's counterattack. Now with that, to be able to push this out, 1 key, super hard, 2 key, super easy. Now I have spent an unbelievable amount of time on this team just trying to pretty much milk every bit of damage I can get out of this for all affinities. The closest I've gotten to 1 key Ultra Nightmare is about 66 million in damage. This one right here for Spirit got close. It's very close. But once you have them where they can get to the whole 1500 turns, if you're not changing your defense and you're not changing what you're putting out as far as your speed goes, you're just adding additional damage and additional attack stats, additional crit rate, additional crit damage, and you can kind of push the numbers to get it is. So I am 100% confident that this full rare build can 1 key Ultra Nightmare. It's just going to take a lot of massaging with the gear and maybe some higher stat gear. The key to this is to make sure that the shield builds faster than the damage accumulates. So as you can see, the shields are growing. Eventually, the shields will push past and the entire bar will become shield. And then the dividing the little blocks that the shield is made up with will double in size. So there will be twice as many blocks, and at that moment you have more shield than HP. And as long as that happens early enough in the clan boss attacks, you're golden. There's no problems moving forward. You'll have the team will be able to go all the way out as long as nothing changes. Okay, we're now 11 minutes in. We're just at 12 million, but you can see here all 5 champions that are in this have maximized their shield. So you see the double layers of lines on the shield. That's how we know this thing is going to be able to handle we're under 50 turns, and we've already maximized everyone's shields. Everybody has all of their buffs on. Nothing dropped off. We still have the placed shield. We still have the internal shields, and everything that's in. The intercepts are working. We're good to go. Now it's just a matter of sitting back over the next hour and seeing what kind of number we can get out of this. All right, here we are. Turn count 1493. We're going to be right around 65 mil with this. 70.4 is 1 key. It's just shy. It's 65 mil again here for Spirit. It's just back to the drawing board. I just need to adjust the damage a little bit. But the whole point of this was Wixwell for rares. It is close to 1 key. It is an easy 2 key, but you can see how far I've pushed it. The build was a lot of fun. I'm not done yet. We still need, I'm going to get it there. I'm going to push the turn limit out, and I want these 4 rares into that 70 to 75 mil range. All right, here's the team setup for this. We have Wixwell. He's just coming in with his Codex Interceptio. This is the intercept, increase defense, and shield. That is his opener. And then I've got it on Infinity, and then we come in with the first priority of the Tempest of Knowledge. This is the one you want to go as often as you can in the very beginning to get the shields built and set up as much as possible so that this thing can last it. Up next, Spirithost at 194 speed here. Her strengthen opens and then it's turned off. This lays down your increased attack right away, but as long as your Valeries are coming in and extending the buffs, you only need to lay that down 1 time to get the buff. And then I've got it turned off so that we can maximize the damage from the A1, and then A3 is here as well. I have that as first priority, so it goes second. That places the block debuffs on all champions for 1 turn. If there was a way to do it 1 and then never play again and it just run for the A1, I would do it. And I could set this thing up to be, we could do the first 2 rounds without having auto turned on and do this so that I could get more damage out of it. And I might do that just to maximize the number to see if we can get it there, but it would require running through 2 rounds turn by turn to maximize it. But this is set up so that I can, once you've done it once, you can just auto battle and quick battle. Then up next are your 2 Valeries. They are both 183 speed, and they are set up exactly the same. They're going to open with the A1 because I want that second round of Spirithost to go through and before it starts extending the buffs. And then the first choice is going to be the Energizing Presence, where it extends the duration of all buffs. And then for me, I have the shield, the A3 in, and the reason this one is running second priority is because it heals each ally according to the number of buffs they are currently under. Because not only is the shield important, but I need healing in there because going last is Renegade at 181, and she's going to open with her lash out just to get everybody on so that she can come back around the second round and start decreasing the cooldown of ally skills. The reason I need that heal turned on for the Valeries is because Renegade's A3 actually receives damage equal to 30% of her max HP. So she takes a hit every time her A3 runs. So Valerie's are healing her as she's, you know, smacking herself around. And that is the complete setup for this squad. And it does run. I've had no problems with it once you get the numbers and the defense. If you're falling apart, the biggest thing about this where it doesn't last is because the shields drop off. The shields drop off. There is not enough defense on your champions to minimize the damage that the clan boss is doing, or you don't have enough buffs. Putting these teams together for Wixwell has been an absolute blast. This isn't the only one I've been working on. A lot of people have been talking about how Geo and his can deflect the damage back on the clan boss. You can throw some heavy numbers at it. I've been very hyper focused on the Wixwell Tartar build for an everyman's Ultra Nightmare team setup, but there's been some other teams that have had some huge numbers here as well. This is using Renegade and Valerie, but instead of the second Valerie and Spirithost, swapped in Lady Macaj for because she brings increased duration on the buffs, and then Geo in there for maximum damage. This is as simple a build as anything else, but able to get some massive numbers out of this as well. Yeah, as you can see, we're narrowing in on the 1500 turn count. We're over 400 million with this team. And this is an afterthought. Jumped it from 65 mil to 400 mil without much thought, as long as your speed is set up. So I hope that helped. If it did and you're able to put something together, let me know what team you're using in the comments below. This has been a blast. I'm definitely going to set up a couple more teams with this. I can imagine a few more interesting combos that can come out of those 3: Wix, Renegade, Valerie. Actually, Lady Macaj and Geomancer might be one of my best setups here. Maybe something different than Lady Macaj, although she is bringing 21 mil. Geomancer, I'm not much sure how much more damage I can get out of him at this point, but I'd love to be able to do over 500 mil in one turn with this. So that's it. If this helped, make sure you subscribe here at YouTube. That way you can turn on notifications, never miss when a video goes live for this or any of the other Raid Shadow Legends content that comes out. And then check out the Twitch stream as well. Links are there below. I'm finally He Sleeps. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep making videos.